This is the ProTee VX ceiling mounted golf launch monitor, and today we're going to do a full review. We're going to do an unboxing. We're going to talk about all the specifications, what's included, the software that's included, the pricing, everything. And we're also going to mount it in our Pro Enclosure like you guys might have seen in a previous video. If you haven't seen that, make sure you check it out. It's ideal for a launch monitor like this. Now, as we do the unboxing, I'm going to talk about several things. First, let's just talk about ProTee really quick. So these guys have been around for, I want to say, over 20 years. They're actually the ones that are behind TGC 2019, wildly popular golf simulator software. They're also the guys that are behind golfsimulatorforum.com. That has to be one of the biggest golf simulator forums out there. So they're definitely not new to the business. I mean, that's for sure. So when they came out with the ProTee VX, you guys might have seen that video that I did at the PGA show. It caught a lot of attention because they were coming out with a couple goals. One, they wanted to make a launch monitor at a price point where it was going to fit very competitively and well priced. They've been very straightforward saying that they do not want to do discounts, that it's always priced at $6,500. And for what it's offering, it definitely seems very competitive. So before I get started, just to kind of clear the table from a few things, I do want to show you guys, I did get a Carl's ProTee VX mount. That's what we'll be mounting to the crossbar up there. It makes it super simple. So if you're using a crossbar or using a Carl's enclosure, you've seen that video. I do have discount codes on it as well. You can pick up a mount where this mounts very easily to that crossbar. So we'll get this out of the way. And I do want to show you guys, it just kind of comes with a thank you from ProTee United. Just says with over 20 years of expertise, so there you go right there. Every ProTee system is hand tested by our team of experts. So they're actually located in the Netherlands. So the unit is built in Europe. Just says thank you for being part of the ProTee community. So several things that they wanted to set out to do. One was be that very competitive price point. Two is to really kind of knock down some innovation. So this unit, one, if we want to continue on pricing this for a second, has no subscription. That means that when you buy this unit, the software that they're including has no subscription to use for the lifetime of the unit. I'm just kind of show how it's packed in there. I think that's pretty cool. You know, it's kind of tough to decide if I wanted to do kind of one of those overhead videos or like this, and I can probably even just pull this out so you guys can see how it's sitting in there, and then we'll make sure that we grab the launch monitor and lift it out appropriately. I think it's should be, I would imagine, stuck in there quite well. Now that I got it, I'll just lift it up like this real quick. So there it is. So very nicely wrapped with that styrofoam, and I'll just kind of tilt it down so you guys can see how it's in there. So there it is. Comes with stickers that protect the infrared and high-speed cameras. So I'll actually take this box and we'll get it off the table and we'll put it right on there. But let's keep talking about some things. So what all is included? Well, you get obviously the launch monitor, and with no subscription, they're including what's called ProTee Labs. That's their software that has all kinds of features. So it's going to give you all of the ball data, all of the club data with no stickers. They have new AI technology, that's what they're calling it, where they can track the club and give you things like path, face angle, angle of attack, club speed, dynamic lie, impact location, and we're going to show all of that in detail with shots, so stay tuned for all of that. And you can use that software with all of its powerful tools. It even now includes swing cameras, and I'll pull those out here in a second and show you. All of that with no subscription. So it's really kind of changing things. And then of course it will connect to the very popular GSPro, but what gets very interesting is if you watched my latest video from ProTee at the 2026 PGA show, that Golf Core software that they're coming out with, it's golf simulator software, is included for VX owners. So they're including cameras and their own software and Golf Core. I mean, it's a lot of bang for your buck. One thing I want to note really quick is that this unit's very unique. So it is actually like wrapped in like a stainless steel material, weighs about 20 pounds. So it is definitely robust. You can see right here that you have three different things. You have a power switch, your power input for the power cable, and then an Ethernet plug. So when you're installing this unit, ideal height is anywhere from 9 to 10 feet. If you're doing it from 9 feet, I believe it's going to be 3 feet 4 inches in front of the ball. And then if at 10 feet, 3 feet 7 inches in front of the ball. So they have that diagram to show you what that looks like. There's a little knob right here. You pull up on this knob, and then what that's going to do is that's going to release this mounting plate. So this mounting plate is what's going to go up onto that other mounting plate on that crossbar. And I'll show you what the back of the unit looks like really quick, and then we'll get the rest of the things out of the box. And then we'll talk about a lot more specifications and show you the install and everything. So back of the unit looks like this. I believe it has some cooling fans right there, but very simple overall. I like the way that it's heavy duty. I mean, that's like more, you know, stainless steel material where that connects on. So very cool. And I'm not going to take those stickers off yet just because they're protecting, you know, the infrared and camera, you know, covers. So I do have some notes here. A couple other things I wanted to talk about as far as ProTee goes. 24/7 customer service. So you don't hear a lot of that anymore nowadays, and I thought that was very impressive that they do that. And then a couple other things is that what they're doing inside of that ProTee Labs software is nonstop development. So before I even started, you know, hitting record, I did some research and looked at the change log. And they're constantly listening to users and adding features. They even have like a swing trainer AI that they're building into the software that will be out soon. So, and that they plan on having a lot more things to come. They already have the heat map for their club impact, shot recording, wedge matrix, all kinds of things inside of there. And we're gonna show you that here in just a few minutes. But the shot delay, all the way down to 0.2 seconds. That's very fast response. You'll be able to see that too. It does come with a 1-year warranty, and of course, easy setup and calibration. I will show you the calibration process. But let's go ahead and grab the last items out of the box real quick. So down at the bottom, you will have a box and a calibration board. Calibration board is what you're going to set down in that hitting area, allow the cameras to lock into. We'll show you that here. And then this is kind of cool. Setup instructions, just scan a QR code. I love it when there's just a QR code. It makes it so simple. And then let's just show the last couple items here. So you have swing cameras, very nicely wrapped. You have Ethernet cable, that's going to be to connect to the unit down to your computer. And then they also include a USB 3.0 RJ45 gigabit USB dongle. Let's talk about that. Now, I will say, I really like that they include heavy duty screws with your, you know, I'm trying to remember, anchors, I think is what they call them. So whether it be going into like some type of like drywall wood that you need to anchor, it includes the anchors and the screws. Very last thing that I'll show is the leveling dot that they give you. So you can put this down on the calibration board, making sure that it's level. So when it's calibrating, you know that your board's not tilted. It could throw anything off. You can recalibrate at any time, so it's not that big of a deal if you needed to recalibrate. But what's cool about this is some people don't have multiple Ethernet ports on their laptop or computer. You want to take the VX and put it into the main Ethernet connection on your computer. You can use this if you want to have a secondary for your internet. Put it into a 3.0 or above slot for the best performance, or you could use Wi-Fi if you have really good Wi-Fi. I will, because I'm gonna set up the cameras, I will take one out now, that way I can show you guys what they look like. I mean, the fact that they include cameras now for free, and there's no indication that they're not going to moving forward. I mean, this is something that they've just set in stone. They're trying to max value, and you can even see right here, it even has the ProTee logo on there. So it comes with a standard screw. It also comes with this adjustable lens. So 3 megapixel cameras, 2.5 millimeter lens. And I will put a link down in the description. I got these off of Amazon. And the reason I like these is one, they're very sturdy and heavy duty. You can lock the base, totally adjustable. And then this easily slides down if you need to rotate that way, whether it be straight up or down, depending on the preference and setup for your swing camera. But once again, like it's almost like a metal case on these cameras, I want to say. So feels nice and heavy duty. The only thing that you're probably going to want to do, and I actually have this and I can share the details with you guys, is pretty short USB cables. So that means you're going to need to extend them. Now, if you're doing that, depending on how far you're doing it with high-speed cameras, a lot of times you want very high quality extension cables, probably even powered. They make powered USB extensions, and that way you know you're not going to get any data loss from the cameras. I believe they're 120 frames per second, which is usually plenty to do slow motion video. And I also recommend using kind of like a light that I'm using right now, and I can share the links to that too. Just a high quality LED panel. I think that covers everything that I wanted to do as far as like the intro review and unboxing and everything goes. Now let's get the unit installed in my Carl's Pro Enclosure on that crossbar. So the first thing I had to do was take that Carl's mount and mount it to the crossbar. Then I took the ProTee VX mount, mounted that up to that one, and then you were able to take the ProTee VX and mount it on there. Now I will say that's a two-person job. I did it one person, but I would recommend two people. You're going to then run your Ethernet and power cable. It was kind of funny. This was almost the most time-consuming thing for me to do. And then once I did that, you download the software and you're going to install it. Put your license in there, take your calibration board, and after that, I was hitting my first shot out on the ProTee Labs range, which I really enjoyed. Had a nice little draw down there for my first shot, and then after seeing that, walked over to the default tabs. I actually did add swing cameras, but this one, you know, the first time you see that verification of the club path, it's just a really cool image that we'll show here in just a second. And you can see I had my swing video already recording from the two cameras, and we were off and running. Well guys, as you can see, I got the ProTee VX installed and just took my first swing. I got everything all set up, and I will take you for kind of like a little bit of a guided tour here in a second, just to kind of show you how I have the camera set up. You know, installing the software, I don't even need to show it, it's that easy. I mean, you go to the download link, you know, you install the software. Once it's running, you will put in your license, and I will give you a little tip. The buttons kind of don't seem like you're clicking them sometimes. I mean, it's not a big deal. Just make sure you're clicking them. You'll make your way through there. And I mean, it was that easy. I hit an 8-iron down there, 159 carry for my little draw, and all the numbers I'm seeing from angle of attack to backspin, a little light on the spin on that one. I'm assuming I hit maybe just a tad behind the ball. You know, launch angle 19.5. Let's go over to the screen and just kind of review everything. All right, so here we are on the swing screen. So this is defaulted. The only thing it did not have is the ball spin validator and these two swing videos. So you can customize as many pages and tabs as you want, and then inside of all those pages or tabs, whatever you want to call them, these are the tabs up top: swing, range, video, and history. So if I just kind of click through those, that's the range that you saw when I just took a shot. All right, you have data down at the bottom. You can hide that data or make it larger if you want to. I do like how you can do that. You can actually shrink it just down right there, and it gives you a really nice range view. You can actually take and expand shots over on the left if you want, but I kind of want to just stay right now on these tabs and explain how these work. So here's what's really cool. So under the swing tab, yes, it was defaulted. It didn't have these swing videos. So in the upper right where you see that little lock button, you unlock, and now at this point in time, I can go ahead and add any visualizer I want. So these are all your options: side impact, top impact, front impact. That's where I hit on the face. So you can see that was a little high on the face and it felt like it. And we'll even use the swing video here in a second to validate that. So I didn't get quite as much spin as I'd like to. I can see top club path, side club path, shot video. There it is right there. Look at me touching the turf just a little bit, and I'll show that in high res here in just a second. More swing videos, because I think you can add as many cameras as you want, essentially. I can't imagine somebody adding more than like 3 or 4. The carry optimizer, pretty cool. You can see, you know, it says 7-iron. I let it auto select. I am hitting an 8-iron. You can select manually or let it do it. So you probably want to select it if you're going to use the optimizer. Bag mapping, wedge matrix, and then ball spin video, spin access, ball spin validator, top flight path. So there it is, this little draw, kind of my normal draw. Didn't quite push draw it though. And then side flight path, and then driving range. So you could even have a mini driving range, dispersion of your shots, multi-side flight path, data table, so a table of your shots if you want a table, and then a heat map that starts on all of your shots inside of a session. So let's go ahead and we'll exit out of this. Just want to remember how to exit out of this because I don't want to add a visualizer. There we go. Just click outside of it and it will exit. Just you know, kind of working my way around for the first time, and it's pretty easy. Now let's say that you want to draw. So you can actually draw anywhere you are on here. If I go ahead and lock this and then hit that edit button, you'll see. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to pause the video kind of where I want it really quick. So right there, I'm gonna hit this edit button and I'm just gonna select like a drawing tool and a line. And let's say I wanted to make 2 lines. One here where the club is to my hands. And let's say I wanted to make another one kind of from my shoulder up here. So I wanted to see 2 angles. I can draw on anything too. So if I wanted to draw over here, I could draw over here. That's what's wild. So, and then just hit your delete button. You can delete those. But at any point in time, you can draw anywhere inside of the app. I thought that was kind of fascinating. And then on any page, when it's unlocked, you can edit any of these, take any of these away, or add any of them that you want. So let's just add one really quick. So let's say that you wanted the heat map on this page. So there it is. I can now take it and make it any size that I want. So I'm just gonna go ahead and shrink it down, and let's say that I just wanted that right up here. And that's kind of cool actually. So we could actually make that probably a little bit bigger. It snaps to the grid, which I found was really cool. I can just bring it right over here, and once I'm good, I can just click out of that and be done. So now I have a heat map on this page as well. Go ahead and relock it, and that way nothing's moving around. You can then go into the arrange view. We'll go into that video and kind of just, what's nice is it like defaults to this kind of automatic pause. So see how it's like bringing it in and pausing it at impact? I don't know if I've seen another swing path video software do that automatically. One, I'm very impressed with what it looks like. I mean, like the details of the club, the details of the ball, like the fact that you can see the dimples, and they're using dimple technology now. So they're saying no more TP5X for best spin. Keep in mind, this is beta, so they just released this. So we're using beta, full disclosure. But I mean, that impact it gave me was spot on. Look, it was just a little towards the heel, maybe just a little high on the face for my liking, and just so easy to validate. And you can come right in here and look at the ball spin video or the ball spin validator and do the same. So let's go ahead and exit out of here, and let's take some more shots. So before I get too into the weeds in ProTee Labs, I do want to hit some shots for you guys. Everybody wants to see shots right away on a new unit. The goal here is going to do some shot shaping for you. So let's start off probably working the ball left to right and then right to left. And even before we do that, why don't I talk about the huge hitting area? So it's 21 inches by 25 inches. And you know, for someone like me that has an insert like this, I mean, look at this. I could be all the way over here if I wanted to, and it's gonna lock in. It's off my hitting mat. I could be over here if I wanted to, and it's going to lock in maybe just a little bit inside. But I could tee off, and you can move that hitting area. I'll show you the calibration tool here in just a second. I am going to take you guys through more settings and everything. But look, you could be all the way in the back of your hitting area, all the way in the front of your hitting area. I mean, it's a very large hitting zone for sure. So let's go ahead and show you guys some shot shaping. So goal of the first shot is to get the ball started left and then working back to the right. Be nice if I could get it back to the center line. It's always tough for me to do. Yeah, I tend to just not get the balance of out to in and holding the face off. Wasn't the best strike in the world, but I think we could do it. Let's hit another one. So the goal of this one is to get back to the center line. I'm just gonna kind of weaken my grip just a little bit, try to exit far enough left. Oh yeah, for me that's gonna be really good. So just left of the center line. We'll do one more, see if we can get all the way back there. Toughest part for me, especially after like installing, you know, a ceiling mounted launch monitor and everything, excuse me, as my OCD wants me to get this ball dead center, is I'm just gonna aim a little further left because I have a tough time firing my hips unless I'm all warmed up and everything. So you get that club far enough left, and then you can see the ball, ends up a little bit right. What I like seeing is these numbers are what I would expect. I'm getting 6,000 to 7,000 on most of the shots. The launch angle, the carry being about 150 because this is an 8-iron. It's going to be a little bit under my normal carry when I'm cutting it. All right, let's hold the face off enough this time. We'll get this all the way to the line, if not past it. Look at that. Just got to commit, And this is exactly why, that was like ideal. Just an awesome cut shot. Spin's getting up. It's one of those things where this is what you want to do, right? This is, if you want to practice, get out to the range. I will show you guys, more inside of ProTee Labs in a second after we hit a couple draws. So, just going to aim just a little right. Doesn't take me aiming that far right. Well, that was a little bit of a push, but you can see the shape. So it was a push draw that just didn't get back to the center line. So I got to commit to close the club face. I was trying to hold it off before. Now I have to commit to closing it. Of course, what do? I oversnap it. It ends up being a huge push draw. So now let's relax it in between. We'll be able to show all of the different shapes. All right. Much better, but it was fat. See the spin go down right away when the ball gets heavy? That is instant validation for me. I know that I'm losing spin because I hit behind the ball, so it's good to see that. Now let's try to hit one crispy with that shot shape right there. That was a lot better. Just a nice little draw. Get back there to the center line. So much, much better shot. All right, so before we jump out to GSPro, because I want to show you guys some chipping and putting in full simulation, not just shot shaping on here, let's go into the settings and look at those really quick. All right, so I'm going to go into the upper right into this gear icon. And just want to give you guys kind of a full rundown of everything. So you could run in full screen mode. You can save the window location, so it's going to be what it is when you launch it. You can make it always force it on top if you want. Interface scaling for different resolutions, 1080p, 4K and things. Obviously all your different unit displays for whatever country you live in and what type of, whether you're metric or imperial. Customize, so visualizer, direction, auto, play sound and ready for shot. It will say ready when it locks into the ball if you want it to. Show data, full screen visualizers, visualizer dark mode. I actually have my visualizers in dark mode. I like that. Those boxes just kind of get brighter or darker. And then advanced, you can do club detection mode. So image AI, which is more accurate, or you could do data AI, which is faster and less accurate, or you can do no club data. You can go into idle mode. You can adjust that timing, so 5 minutes all the way to never. And then ProTee Labs high priority. When you have a powerful computer like I do, I don't think that's really going to matter, but you can return to the stable version. I'm obviously on beta, just like I told you guys. You can look for updates, get notified for beta availability, which let's go ahead and do that now. Disable update pop-up. We don't want to do that because we want to look at the updates, but this is where you actually go through calibration. So the very first time you go under device and select ProTee, and then it can detect handiness. You don't even need to do that. You're going to hit connect. I could disconnect right now if I want to. You could troubleshoot or you could calibrate the system. So when you calibrate the system, all you have to do is place the board down in the center of your hitting zone, and I'll show you that really quick, what it looks like. So let me just grab the hitting board. Sorry, as I have a few things on it. All right. And I place that in my hitting area. All right. Whether I want to be dead center or not. You don't have to be dead center, that's the thing. Now, my mat is not level with the floor. Now, you might do level to the floor because it's really nice for putting. I use this for multi-sport as well, so I can just take these mats and remove them. What I've noticed so far is that it's so easy to place them down, especially with a unit like this, because look how big the hitting areas. I was showing you guys that hitting area. So mine's a little bit farther over here than over here. And so honestly, what I might do is I might make it to where I can tee a ball up farther over here. All right, and you can move that box a little bit as well. But after you're done, hit calibrate world, it will calibrate, and that's it. I mean, that's all you have to do to set up the unit. That's why you noticed in that video, I mean, it was just so fast, it's just not that hard. So game options, this is for GSPro. So I'm gonna show you that here in just a second. You can do a putt speed multiplier to match to your turf speed. I have not seen that, I don't think at all in other launch monitors. It just shows you how advanced they really are. Launch game when Labs starts, so you could actually just launch Labs, boom, GSPro starts right away. Experimental GSPro shot delay fix. Now, I haven't seen any issues with that. We're gonna leave that alone and I'll ask questions about that as well. And you can use the games club. So if you're, whatever you're selecting in there, it would select in here. And that's for like tracking if you wanna look at your history and stuff. I have not set up my bag yet, but you can do that for your user. So you'd wanna select all of your different clubs and you can save them. Shot recording if you wanna record all your shots. And then physics, I thought this was really cool. I actually changed it to fairway soft because I felt like that rollout was pretty close to what I see overall. You can change it to medium, hard, whatever you want, set to your altitude and temperature, wherever you want to be normal. And then you can see it says like automatic putting green and then green stimp rating. So that's if you actually want to adjust that for the range. So very cool stuff. So now what we want to do, I'm going to go to game options and then we're going to connect to GSPro. Once I hit connect, you'll see that that is launching automatically. Takes just a second to launch GSPro. I'm going to grab a wedge because I always do chipping and putting testing when we first install a unit. And then what I want to do after is a lot of follow-up. So, I mean, we'll do driver testing, obviously, probably individually, and we'll even do it with the beta. And then on top of that, we want to do full 9-hole rounds, test that all out so you guys can see everything in action. Now, I do think that GSPro is running right now, probably underneath. So I just want to click on it and hit play. And that will launch all up. I already have my connector set for GSPro to ProTee. So they have an official connection, as you can see. And then it will go ready and we can go out and we can do some testing really quick. So let's go ahead and we'll just go to practice. We'll go to on-course practice. Oh, what do we want to do? Let's show off Shadow Ridge because I was actually out here the other day and this is pretty cool. So course setup, 10 or 11 stimp. So since so many people play at 11, I guess let's leave it at 11. And then as far as everything else goes, like normal greens, that'll all be fine. So we'll go ahead and play Shadow Ridge because we're in practice mode. We're just gonna go out. I wanna show you guys some chipping and putting around the green. We'll do some, different variations as far as like really short putts and really short chips. Maybe launch some wedge shots. I will say that unit is so nice and close, being just over 3 feet, that I just can't imagine somebody hitting that. But if you want to, you can get protective cases for that. So let's go ahead and start by just grabbing our ball and moving up green side. So I think this is a perfect example right here. You're out of the rough. It's a tough shot. You need to land it probably half that distance. So I'm gonna try to probably, carry this only, about 20 feet or so. So I needed to get it just about a foot farther. So let's go ahead, give that one more shot. And I kind of forgot, I'm out of the rough. So that takes away a little bit of speed. So I need to just add just a little bit to that. If I wasn't launching as high, I probably would have got that there. But what a good example. So obviously very straightforward on this. I do want to, let's say you had a very difficult chip. I mean, I'm talking difficult. Now, how's the chipping response? Just knowing that you barely have to carry this, 10 feet. Ooh, that was a little low launcher. I want to be able to launch a little bit higher. So I kind of stabbed at it a little bit so you could see what a bump and run would look like versus a launch chip. So kind of open that face up a little bit, kind of get under the ball. Look at that. I mean, that's fantastic response. The one thing I've noticed, and I know it said like the shot delay, maybe they had an issue during some type of update with GSPro, but I mean, these things are instantaneous. So let's get this one kind of launched up in the air like you had to go over a bunker. Whew, almost made it. Now what we'll do is I will give you guys, rather than just that chipping, let's say that you are right over here. I'm gonna go a little bit further out though, because what I wanna do is kind of demonstrate a bump and run. So we could even go here. There we go. Kind of lower launching. I mean, that's 30 yards. So we'll lean the shaft forward a little bit. Low launch, bump and run, almost in the gimme zone. And you can get all that data, verification, you know, looking at the launch angle. I mean, I really like what I'm seeing so far. And we'll do some deeper diving on the club data. I'll do maybe a whole club data review for you guys. We'll look at face impact, we'll look at the actual path and then the face angle and angle of attack. Maybe I can even bring in my buddy who's a PGA professional that's just unbelievable, and we'll really dive in with his swing because he can control everything so perfectly. So one more kind of bump and run, and then we'll jump into putting. Just a little bit harder on that one. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll do one more really low, because I got faster at that one, but I want to see it roll out more. I could even tell you what I'll do. Let's do something different. Let's grab like an 8-iron and let's do like a little chip like some people do sometimes. This will be interesting the way it rolls out. Yeah, see how it rolls out so much more? Whew, that worked out. And look at the backspin, because it was an 8-iron. Reads it, no problem whatsoever. I'm very impressed with the response right now. Definitely 0.2 seconds, I mean, nearly instantaneous. So let's grab the ball and let's start with kind of just some normal putting. 14 feet, that's 11 stimp. I gotta get used to this. I like that it's gonna measure in a very short distance, so I don't have to worry about it dropping off or anything. Benefit of a camera system. Just gotta think of, and you can also aim right in the sim. You don't have to worry about aiming in the software. Aiming in the software works actually pretty decent, but you can aim in the sim for the most part. Did I nail it? All right, we're done. Well, I'll go ahead and wrap up there. No, I'm just kidding. That speed was perfect. You want to adjust to your turf and realism, you really do. But I mean, overall, that was fantastic. 2 in a row. Oh, nope. I like the speed. I like you know, the aiming. You could have ProTee Labs up on a 3rd screen if you wanted to, and you could be reviewing everything possible. I'm sorry, I just got a big zap. So I did stop for a brief moment because that did have me a little scared with that static shock that all the recording and everything was fine. And that's a moment that I'll actually take and share with you guys. Static electricity, when it's very dry in winter environments and you're moving all around with ladders and everything like I was, that can build up a lot of static charge, and electronics do not like it. Grab some static guard, spray it down. It's gonna prevent things like that. So wanted to share that with you guys, but let's go ahead and continue. I wanna do short putting. I'm gonna do 6 foot, 3 foot. We're gonna do a couple wedge shots, like high launching wedge shots. I feel like out of the bunker, that's always a good one to do. And we have a couple other cool things to show you just kind of around the studio, and then we'll wrap things up. So let's go ahead and hit a couple putts, and I actually have a cool thing to show you inside of Labs. So just barely getting it there, that's perfect. I'm gonna hit one more. I really like how instantaneous things are. I mean, 0.2 seconds is obviously extremely fast. Let's go ahead and hit one more from here. gosh, on 11 stimp, it's almost tough to leave that short. Now I'm gonna go over and pull up labs on that putt. Check this out. I was messing around while I had it stopped for a second, making sure everything was fine. And I looked at the last putt and I was like, oh my gosh, you have full replay video on putting. I didn't even think about that. So you could come in here and verify your path. The most important thing on putting, in my opinion, face, but you can see that right at impact where face was. I do have a couple fiducials on my putter. It's not gonna hurt anything. If anything, it would help it, I would think. I'll verify that with ProTee Labs. But yeah, you can go in here and even look at the swing video on your putting. So, I mean, I just think if you want to look at your address, you want to look at anything that happened, you know, you'd probably want to move the camera a little bit if you really wanted to work on, you know, just your down the line on putting, because it's set up for more of like irons and driver. But how fantastic is that? And I'll show you guys the camera setup here in just a second, like I promised. So let's move the ball even closer. 3-foot putts. I mean, the facts of life are is usually on golf simulator software. I like playing like 6-foot gimmies or so. I mean, I think that if it gets too much closer than that, it's just, it drags on for no reason, but that's me personally. So let's just barely tap a couple 3-footers. So they're rolling just over 3 feet, but if I was out in real life, I'm going to make sure I get it to hole in a 3-footer too. So it's not like, I guess if it was some downhill putt that you barely needed to tap, I don't think I could leave a 3-foot putt short. We'll try. I mean, it was shorter for sure, a couple feet, and it barely rolled in there. So it has no problem picking these up. I mean, no problem. And it's fast too. Let's say that I accidentally just had a yip and like pushed it from 3 feet. I don't think you could even miss. Right edge. So it's picking that up really nicely. Now let's do this. On this course, Shadow Ridge, if we go out to number 3, one, it's a beautiful hole. If you haven't played this verified course, you should check it out. So this bunker down here is a crazy shot. You probably are wondering, well, how do you know about that? Well, it's because I've been in the bunker before. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to hit some flop shots for you guys. So I made it flat, so you're down at the bottom. Your ball would normally roll down at the bottom in real life, so I'm not gonna place it kind of uphill. It takes off 20 to 30% or so, and the goal here is to launch it up 40 to 45 degrees or so and see if I can get it by the pins. So laying the club face flat, opening the stance just like you would in a bunker shot. Let's see how it reads it. That was a little heavy. I wanted to get more under the ball, and I hit just a little bit behind the ball and got away with it. So let's go ahead and get this one just a little more crispy on the ball. You can see 49.86 on the spin. I was right, 75% speed, and it's taking away only 72% spin you're getting out of there. But let's try to not quite hit down on it too much. Oh yeah, that was crispy. And it's gonna stay in there. So that is ideal. And we could even pull up ProTee Labs and look at a weird shot like that and just see what it's like. So let's go to video and just slicing it. So just like you would a sand shot. So, you know, you're just behind the ball. You can see it just hitting the turf, and then you're crisping that right on the wedge, and it's getting great spin. What a cool video. And look at how it's actually looking at that face angle and the path properly on such a weird shot. I'm very impressed with how it does that. So let's just stop for a second. Look how lined up the face angle is with the line. It's doing a fantastic job. Look how precise that is. And then look at the path just before that of it coming in. So they've obviously done a very, very good job with this AI tracking that they have, because on a wedge shot like that, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's really cool. You'd think that it could potentially get confused. You know, I've seen that happen before. That's really cool stuff. So the one thing I want to do now is I do want to show you guys, I promised, inside the studio what the setup looks like. So let's do that. Okay, so as promised, let's take a quick look at the garage studio. So I do have the cameras set up on these tripods that I was telling you guys about. They're really nice and fully adjustable and sturdy, and they screw right onto the cameras. Both cameras are probably about 7.5 to 8 feet behind the golfer. And this is your down the line, so I can kind of show you where it is. I like to have the cameras set up in line with my hands. So for irons and driver, that would be roughly about right there. Putter, obviously you could see was a little more offset. And then face on, same thing. I want it on the hands. And this is the face on camera. All right, those are both running over to this gaming desktop. It is pretty powerful. It's a 5070 Ti with an AMD 9850X processor and a 43-inch touchscreen monitor. Make sure you check out that whole build video, all right? Hope you guys enjoyed that little mini tour. I'll tell you what, the ProTee VX ceiling mounted launch monitor has me impressed. This is a first look review. I mean, I just pulled this thing out of the box for the first time. I've never, been inside of ProTee Labs, so you were watching me kind of, fiddle around for the very first time. Easy to navigate and so powerful. That was one thing that really impressed me, was not just like the installation and the hardware. Obviously it's performing really well from what I can see so far, but that lab software, what they've done with it since release and their plans where they're going with it, it's just really cool. And remember, if you just want labs and that range, there's no subscription. And that new golf course software that they're coming out with, no subscription. So at the price point, I can respect where they're at. So they want to be competitive. They don't do discounts or anything. They don't have sales. It's just they think it's a fair price and they believe in their product. I'm impressed with the 24/7 support that they offer. Honestly, this is a unit that people have been asking to see in the channel for a while now. So I'm really glad we were able to get it here. And this is just the beginning. So yes, this is a first look review to show you guys what comes in the box, how to install it, make sure that we're getting the correct shot shaping and chipping and putting. We have a lot more to cover, all right? So stay tuned. There'll be a lot more coming soon.